fondue. You need to say that on your interview.
I want to experience the fondue.
Of course, I love bread. You really can't go wrong. And cheese. And bread and cheese together is just A+.
This is the bathroom. We got one problem. We can make eye contact. Oh my god, it's the real Eiffel Tower. That's the Vegas Eiffel Tower. That's like the real one. That's the one in France. 5 stars. We're in France, man.
She got in an argument with one of those little ATM things that dispenses the tickets for the tram ride. And next thing we know, this ATM is yelling loudly in French. Apparently she hit the I'm blind button. Why do they have an I'm blind button on a touch screen?
We're taking more Clayton on the bachelor.
We are. We're taking your bachelor party. The cock party in France.
With all the girls. Okay, are we doing what I think we're doing?
Well, Beth's in the
That's
bathroom.
well,
You
she
can
can see.
Peeping Tom.
We had a conversation 4 years ago with the initial outline of this trip and whether or not I thought this would be appropriate. If it is what I think
Do
it
we
is.
say it on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Moulin
Burlesque.
Rouge.
Whoa. Wait, burlesque?
Moulin Rouge.
All right, so I'm giving them an update on our schedule for tomorrow, which is Sunday, very last day in Paris. We're encouraged to dress a little bit fancy.
Dress nice?
We're going to Montmartre. We're going to have a dinner reservation there where we'll have fondue, but with a little bit of a twist. So it should be pretty quirky.
Pickles again?
Maybe
twist?
some drizzle. And then from there, we're doing an 11 o'clock Moulin Rouge show.
Whoa.
Close out our last night in Paris, so
Is
Yes.
tomorrow dubbed the cock party day?
could be.
Stag party.
Oh, that was hens and cocks. Is that wrong?
Stag party and hen party.
Ooh,
There you go.
cocks is funnier. Well, I wouldn't call it a stag party. There's a little beef with that, but we can go with it.
And Katie has exited the group chat.
Okay, that's the group chat.
All right, we haven't done a Paris check-in, so let's just talk about Paris so far. Pros, cons, all those things.
Get your hot chocolate in the metro station.
Cons
Yeah,
of
we-
Paris.
Your fingers have to be warm when you go to push the buttons,
Mhm.
or else the only button that will work is the one for blind people.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that, Randy.
Yeah, let's talk about
Let's
it.
talk about that.
I pushed the button for the blind people, and it was very, very loud.
We got yelled at in French at the subway station by a machine.
What led to that
Espresso
moment?
martinis.
Singular. One
Espresso
martini.
I had one with you. Just
There were
kidding.
two.
Your brother drank it. And you two were the two at the machine, so
Maybe it's an espresso martini thing.
we'll try it again tonight and let you know.
Did the Eiffel Tower live up to expectations?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
More.
it
Very
was
much
very
so.
cool to see it.
I was prepared to be disappointed, and I wasn't.
I had to remind myself it was the Eiffel Tower. I'm like, that's the real Eiffel
That's the real
Tower.
thing.
This is
That's the
not
real
a
one.
fake one in America.
Not in Vegas.
We're not. in
Not
Vegas.
the one in Vegas.
I actually got.
My favorite country was Germany. It was beautiful. I love the mountains.
The food was great.
And yeah, it was just beautiful.
I think, yeah, that was the most like country part we were in, so that was
Mhm.
pretty cool.
Castle.
We don't really see a lot of grass.
There were cows. Made me very happy.
Oh, you missed the turquoise store.
Oh yeah, there's a Western.
Oh, you
Oh,
guys
yeah, we
missed
found
the
a
Western
Western
store.
store
Found the
there.
Western
There's
store.
a Western store.
There's a saddle in it, a steer wrestling saddle.
It looks like they went and bought out a Navajo village.
Wow.
An American
There's
flag.
headdresses and buffalo heads and everything.
In light of our conversation earlier, how much of that do you think is stolen Native American stuff?
Probably.
Because they don't
Probably.
market it or like watch it here because they don't know to.
True.
Also, there was a protest today.
There was a protest. I thought
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
a parade.
exciting.
I was
That-
upstairs the whole
That
time.
was hardly a protest. That was a minor disturbance.
It was a parade.
It sounded like a parade. They had
Well, I
really good
googled
drums.
it. Don't Google it. You
I have
guys.
heard drunken Irishmen going down the street louder than that.
It's like a whole thing. It's like erupting all over the city right now.
Favorite country? They're all equally great. I guess Vienna, probably Austria, because yeah, it was cleaner. I didn't
Vienna.
have to use Japanese to get nicer service, so that's another thing about Paris I noticed. I get nicer service if I speak in Japanese. So,
Ooh.
and I did get people to not sell us and solicit us stuff at the Eiffel Tower. You're welcome, guys.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Wait, what?
You didn't see that? This guy was like coming like in our faces, and I looked at him. I was like, "Engo wo karimasen deshita," and then he just was like, "English." I was like, "No English spoken," and then he walked away. He thought we all could speak English.
Worked for me.
He took one look at Warren
He
Clay
looked
and
at me
said,
and
"You
like,
speak
he
Japanese."
definitely speaks Japanese.
Ni hao. Wait, no, that's
No,
Chinese.
that's Chinese.
I say hi in Japanese.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Oh.
Yep.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
I liked Vienna because I feel like we had our little pastry shop.
Mm-hmm.
We had a cute little pastry shop, and like there were a lot of roads leaving our house, but they were really easy to navigate.
Yeah, I
it
mean,
was very easy to
this
get
place I think moves every time we leave.
Yeah.
That's no joke.
I
This
feel like
place
I
is
walked
great.
by a different store on the corner every time we turned the corner.
Part of that's my fault because I keep turning down the wrong street.
There's a little cafe, like a sports cafe, that's down the way that I think is like Palestinian, which is why that protest happened out here.
Oh. Are they like anti-Palestine?
No, it's
Pro-Palestine.
yeah,
Okay.
pro, but the French government's not
Doing
doing
what
what
they
they want
want.
them to do. That's like my keynote marker because there's a lot of people smoking outside of it. So as long as I see that, and then I see our little there's a bar here that has board games.
Yes, the
So
game bar.
as soon as I
It's
see the
fun.
game bar, I know we're close.
I saw Catan in the window.
A kid's Catan. That's so cute.
All right, so in votes for favorite country so far, we've got Austria. You all said Austria?
I shouldn't answer. I was trying to get out of it.
Germany.
Germany.
I like Germany. The food and the pictures.
Probably Austria.
Austria.
All right,
Okay,
Austria's
Austria's
winner.
winning the
What was
vote.
the
French
small
fries
one?
suck here, otherwise I'd pick
Liechtenstein.
this
Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein was cool.
Liechtenstein.
one.
Okay.
The American Bagel Co.
Wild card.
Wild card.
I had seen a reel for this restaurant in Paris on Instagram. And the minute I saw it, I knew that I was going to try and get us seeing at it just because it seems so quirky. And I knew we had a lot of social media people in the form of Katie and Marsha that were going to be on this trip. And then, of course, I'm trying to expand my social media presence, talking about my travels. Hope you've been following along. But anyway, there was this restaurant. You had to like climb over the tables to get to your spot. It served fondue and you got to like sign your name on the wall when you were done. It just seemed like a really quirky atmosphere. I thought that'd be a good clickbait for social media, but also just a really cool experience to get to do, especially since it was going to be in Montmartre, which is the same district that Moulin Rouge was in. And so having booked tickets to the performance later that night, I thought it was only fitting that we take advantage and go visit that restaurant. I had to make those reservations in advance. It's one of the few reservations I actually made in advance for food. Well worth it. There was definitely a standing room only line, hoping for cancellations that they could get on the list and get in to get seated. So it was a really unique experience. I do wish we had gotten to spend more time in Montmartre. It's known as the Artist District in Paris, and I would have loved to explore that, especially during the daytime. I had planned to explore it this morning, but because of the horse riding cancellation with the snow and having rebooked it for Sunday, we did that instead. And the day we didn't do the horse stuff, everyone kind of needed a little bit of a sleep in. We got a little extra sleep that day and just did Versailles and then the Seine River cruise at night. But no, Montmartre, it was beautiful at night. Again, really wish I could have explored it during the day and seen the artists kind of out and about. I really loved when Randy and I were in New Orleans. We got to see the artists and the culture while we explored. And I was hoping that Montmartre would be really similar.
Okay, you clap.
Hey, Marsha should have gone under. I hope you guys can talk to each other. Let's go this way.
You want to okay.
This way. Okay.
With no small amount of agility on Marsha, Beth, and Warren Clayton's side, they climbed over the table, we got ourselves situated, and we admired the quirkiness of Le Refuge de Fondue. Like the hundreds of guests who signed the wall prior to us visiting, we also were served our beverages in glass baby bottles, a tradition that spans back to the beginning of this restaurant in order to prevent spilling from people climbing over the table. While a normal offered option is wine, several of us chose to indulge in a different flavor.
Thank you. I got one. Did you order one?
Coke.
Oh.
Looks pretty similar though.
And just like the seating arrangement, the baby bottles came with their own set of challenges.
That looks funny.
How do I drink out of this? I don't know how to drink. It's been a long time. I don't know. I haven't done this since I was a baby.
I need you to hold that up. Cheers. Everybody. Put your baby bottles in. Clink. Intense concentration.
I'm gonna end up spitting this out. Wait,
These are glass. I kind of want like them. Why they're plastic?
they are really cool, and I did not get them off here. So.
Because we hadn't gotten any trademark Christmas market mugs here in Paris, 3 of us did go home with our trademark baby bottles to commemorate our time in Paris.
Sucked it too hard.
For our dinner, we ordered 2 pots of oil that we cooked potatoes and beef in, and 1 pot of cheese, which we were very familiar with thanks to our time at Shay's house that was for dipping bread.
This is like infuriating. I suck at I am doing this too aggressively. I'm like sucking all the air out of it.
I'm mooing.
How are we doing?
It's great.
I'm playing hot potato.
I like it.
I haven't seen you. Where did yours go?
Oh my gosh. What is going on? Oh my god. I was gonna say, this is. Can you picture me sipping That's Don't answer that question.
Please don't answer that.
Now he's blushing.
Everyone on this side of the
You said the wrong thing just now. You said the wrong thing.
Well, we know who's good at sucking at this game.
Before we left, we added our names to the layers and layers of names that had come before us on the walls, the chair, and the ceiling.
I can't even see it.
We're getting some really good photos though.
As we headed to our next location, we stopped for some gelato, and by we, I mean Randy and Warren Clayton. How they had room for it, I have no idea. But we got this majestic shot of Beth. Look how beautiful she is. And then Marsha and I had some fun with the signs on the street.
Now, just walk away.
So when we first started planning this mystery trip, honestly, I started planning this trip in 2020 because I was like, oh, everything's locked down from COVID. What am I going to do? I'm going to plan trips. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plan vacations. And so we were talking with Randy and Warren Clayton and Katie about the opportunity of maybe doing another mystery trip because we had such a great time when we went to the UK. The idea was to bring their youngest brother, William, as well. I started planning this itinerary, had everything kind of mapped out. It looked different than what our trip ended up being for this vacation because at the time we didn't have as much financial responsibility as we do now. We were much less adulty, I guess you could say. But originally it went Vienna all the way across to Paris, but then we also were going to drop down into Spain. So it was a couple days longer and a little bit more expensive, and we weren't going to be able to stay in each location quite as long. I definitely made a few adjustments, but another adjustment ended up being that William wasn't able to join us for this trip, which was unfortunate. But in the early stages of planning this trip, one of the first things I saw that I was like, oh, I need to add this. A part of me was doing it to be a little bit like, to my friends from rural Oregon who maybe hadn't gotten out as much, and especially for William, I thought this was going to be really funny, was to book a performance at the Moulin Rouge. And that idea stuck with me. So when I was planning this trip, I knew that I was still going to do it, even though William wasn't on the trip, because I at least had Warren Clayton, and then of course he got engaged, so I had mixed feelings, but I'd already booked it. I was committed. Oh, it might be funny to traumatize my rural friends with a show at Moulin Rouge, but then we got there, and I think I might have traumatized myself. You know, I expected some nudity, obviously, but I was expecting more like the movie burlesque. Honestly, they must save so much money on costuming because the women don't wear tops for the entirety of the show. I have so many questions, but I probably shouldn't ask them in this vlog because it might get flagged on YouTube. But anyway, long story short, Warren Clayton was fine. I was a little traumatized because I wasn't expecting that much nudity. I was expecting a little bit, but not completely entirely all of it. Whatever, it was cool. Definitely worth doing at least once. I might have to do it a second time. I think I had complete sensory overload, to be honest, and I don't think I entirely processed anything that was happening in the show. I was too busy going, oh my gosh. I know we've been joking that this last day in Paris was like Warren Clayton's bachelor party, complete with a Moulin Rouge show, but I was a little self-conscious that he was there, and I did feel a little bit bad. Sorry about that. My bad. Lesson learned. On our way to Moulin Rouge, we stopped by the gift shop, and inside the gift shop they had a nice little area that served us well as an impromptu photo shoot location. The beautiful red backdrop was trademark for Moulin Rouge. In fact, the words Moulin Rouge translate to red windmill, and this red windmill is one of the most famous cabarets in the world, and is easy to spot on the corner of Boulevard des Clichés and Place Blanche. And while we waited for our chance to see the famous dances at Moulin Rouge, it was time to show the locals a little bit of our own skills. We also rounded out our last night in Paris and our last night of the trip at a local bar just next door to Moulin Rouge.
The shoulder! Katie's got the shoulder! It's a video.
And just like that, it was time for our last activity of the trip, an 11 p.m. showing at Moulin Rouge. The atmosphere of Moulin Rouge is reminiscent of turn-of-the-century Paris. The Moulin Rouge was turned into a dance hall in the 1900s, its main attraction being the French can-can. Every year, Moulin Rouge welcomes 600,000 spectators, with 365 days of twice-nightly shows. The place is also Europe's largest consumer of champagne, distributing 750 silver champagne buckets and 240,000 bottles of champagne a year. There are 455 employees, including 80 dancers and 5 pythons, plus 81,000 costumes comprised of feathers, sparkles, and sequins, and 800 pairs of shoes. While our vacation might have come to an end, the adventure certainly wasn't over yet. We still had to make it home from Paris back to the United States. So enjoy this last chain of texting messages related to actively being on the trip, and the stress over Beth thinking that she might have lost her coveted Christmas mugs that she worked so hard to collect. You can also see that the group is happy to be back in the land of U.S. culture. Free water, baby! As each party started to arrive in their home state and their hometown, you can see that Beth is still stressed out about her mugs. So a little PSA for anyone who's traveling abroad: if you have a connecting flight from an international country in the US, you'll need to recheck your bag. But have no fear, Beth did eventually rescue her mugs. If you're keeping tabs on our challenge card side quest, then you should know that Marcia made out with the souvenir challenge from Paris, and I was granted another challenge card in the form of who used French the most / the best. And so the tally comes to Randy 3, she was uncatchable, Marcia 2, and myself 2. So Randy takes the prize.